Hello.
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 The dangers of the internet. Wonderful. How are you doing, Deck? I can't hear you. And we're live. Live YouTube and guys, great fun all together.
I'm hoping you can hear me now, so welcome one and all.
There you are, Deck. Good man yourself.
Yeah, so just a few things we wanted to sort out. Obviously, we have a draw to do for a €200 voucher for X-Pro's online shop at MUFC Irish Reds. I'll do that later on. That's to do with the charity drive that we had with the Crumlin hats. Few technical difficulties with it, but in fairness, Mick has sorted us out with a voucher and we'll raffle it off to someone who bought entry or bought a hat into that draw. But how can we not start talking about United? 3 games in a row we've won. Unbeaten in Europe, which is massive, and a really, really good display by the boys last night. What did you think, Paul?
First of all, Mick, thanks a million for joining us. It's great to have you on, and thanks for your support of what we're doing with the channel and the community. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
It's great to see, all of the communities kind of interacting with each other in a positive way. Because these things can get very can be quite tense from time to time to people doing these type of things. Well, X Pro, fantastic. MUFC Irish Reds are just there's so much positivity in that group, and so supportive of each other. It's a wonderful thing, and we really appreciate it. Just on a side note, very quickly, the Cult of Cantona in another collaborative fashion. We're working with the United Community channel with Jack Points, Joe McGuckin, and Nasty 2K on a new independent once a week podcast called The Trident, where we will be doing regular match reactions and reacting to the news and just having a bit of crack and doing that in Magic Door Studios in North County Dublin, and just trying a new venture to bring all of the communities together, including our own, which we're really, really proud of, which is really great. So you can get us on social media at the Trident MUFC on TikTok, Instagram, and you can get us. Our first podcast is up. It went live last week. It's on YouTube and on Spotify. So give it a watch. It's a bit of crack. It's a lot of fun, and the lads are a big bunch of messers, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Just very quickly about the United, where there seems to be a little bit of an upswing, which is really exciting. We're still playing shite, but we're dragging, like we're winning. We're winning while playing poorly, which is the name of the game. Back to the good old Fergie days, where we're 1-0 down to the last 20 minutes and coming back and winning. I will say one thing: we have the best European record of all European teams in the Champions League and the Europa League. So, in a time when we've just been incredibly negative about United over the last year, it's genuinely something to be proud of, I think. And I think that things are starting to work, and the cogs are moving on the Amarim project with the players. I think Garnacho's figured it out that if you're not in, you're out. You're out altogether. I think Cobby's starting to show signs of what we were seeing last season. I think he's a beautiful footballer. When you're playing him a bit further up like that, we seem to be a better team. And Bruno's moaning less, which is always good. What do you reckon, lads?
What do you think, Mick?
Yeah, well, look, I suppose watching the game last night, and I missed probably a 10-minute section of before Ahmad came on there last night, but I think it was encouraging, but it was a little bit discouraging as well, because I found that we became stronger and better when he came on. So if that is the case, we're still relying on a lot of individuals to take us over the line. I thought that we were a little bit dour without him last night. Um, Saying that, it was a good performance in general all around. You can see what he's trying to do. The team is not built, the squad is not there for this genuine 3-4 thing that he likes to do, but you can see how it works, because it's actually starting to work down through the channels in particular. And like Paul mentioned, that thing, fire up the pitch is obviously part of that as well. So yeah, I think that we're quite a bit to go, but I definitely do think that the way to go for it. Um,
What was it? What was it? Bertie Ahern said. What was his campaign slogan years ago? A lot done, more to do.
more to do, yeah, exactly, yeah. Um, and again, I suppose when you look at Xerxes, that Xerxes can be kind of really hot and cold, as you know, but he can be very much part of that setup. He has that aggression and he has that kind of that ball control to hold it up and get people into the box and the true ball, as you call it. But I don't think he's the player for it, but it's that style of player is definitely going to fit into a situation like that, you know.
Yeah, and that feeds into the thing, the Highland. Like, I mean, he's facing proper criticism now, and I think a lot of it is warranted because now I don't think it's his fault that he cost what he cost. I mean, he wanted to come to Manchester United, like most players would, but it doesn't seem to have happened for him. He can't stick a ball at the moment. Now, I think last night his performance was better than the last few weeks,
Yeah.
but he can't lead the line on his own. And every Man United fan has been saying for ages that we need a top striker. We're not the only team that's missing it, but other teams seem to be going out and trying to do a bit of business, and we seem stagnant for the first transfer window in ages. What are your thoughts on that?
Well,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just going to say that, like, you know, where it's worrying, but there's more going on behind the scenes, or maybe we just know more about what's been going on behind the scenes during this transfer window, and the eventualities of FFP and having to balance the books to sell someone to get someone in. All of these things are kind of worrying, but par for the course now. Um, what I am proud of is the fact that the new lads whose name escapes me right now, and that we brought in. We've two lads. We've the left back, and then we the new Arsenal prospect as well that we bought. It seems as if we're restructuring the wages. I think, which has had to be reconciled. So this is positive. The new left back's on 35 grand a week with an option to go up to 60. This is reasonable business, and this is good. So players that are we're signing players that have an option to be rewarded for playing well for the club, as opposed to just walking in and getting 320, 350 grand a week. So these are positives. Yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? What, like, I've been saying this on this show and other platforms as well more recently. We don't have a striker. We need a striker. When are the lads going to get the finger out and buy Gorkias? Or, like, the biggest mistake I think we made over the last 3 or 4 years, apart from the other 27 mistakes, was that we didn't sign a Harry Kane. We've no goal scorer. We've no, even if like the likes of a Cavani had hung around, that kind of lot. He's still playing football, by the way.
Yeah.
A mentor type older figure to lead the line, show the lads, and I'd give them a kick up the arse and take the pressure off them a little bit. I think we've been sadly missing that, and it's absolutely decimated us last season. And we were really lucky because although people were scoring and there was a little bit more going on, we've been found out again because we haven't reinforced our strikers. Look at the year we won the treble, or even 2008. There was a rotation of 4 strikers on both of those seasons when we were really successful, like proper centre forwards. We don't have that now.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't. I don't know when or how they're going to change it, but they're going to have to splash the cash. I thought they would actually go all out for a striker in the January window.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, who do you have to get somebody to gel into that system. I think the guy from Sporting Lisbon is an obvious choice, but it is definitely the biggest problem. I mean, if you take Highland and Xerxes, the amount of goals they have between them since the start of the season, not nowhere near enough, compared to the top 6 teams in the Premiership. You know, when you go back to the likes of how did we paper over the cracks when Van Hal was around, or Solskjaer or like that. the situation was in reverse. We had guys knocking in goals. You had the likes of Cavani, you had the likes of Ibrahimovic, you had the likes of Rashford was on form at the time. He played well for Solskjaer, but that was cracked paper and over the cracks that we had behind him. Now it's gone the other way around. We definitely just need somebody protecting goals because they can't say nobody can say that United are not creating chances because I think this season is the first season where I've got a little bit excited about watching them. They're actually playing a bit of football.
Yeah. And that feeds into the next thing, like Rashford. Oh my God, how has it gone so massively wrong? Personally, I think he needs to go. You're shifting what 300 to 350 grand a week wages off the books. He doesn't. I mean, Amron's basically come out and said that he isn't trying hard enough. And if you have players like that, and we've had a good few players like that at our club that thankfully have been moved on. What's your stance on Rashford? I think he has to go now.
Well, like it's a joke, really. At the end of the day, you're a professional footballer getting that much money. You don't want to go out and you don't want to train. Like, I mean, that isn't the same for any profession in any walk of life. You turn up and you do your job. The famous Roy Keane words, you're doing your job. But
Do your job.
he has to go.
Dave.
It has to go. Simple as.
Yeah, like Rooney was on the overlap, and he literally couldn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
You know that a professional footballer can be that bad that they can't be arsed to do it in training. It's crazy.
You can tell that Keane didn't want to be drawn on it because he's just so disgusted. And look, here's the thing about Rashford, from what I've picked up from a couple of different sources over the last week or two, is that he's a problem. We need to stop thinking that there's a grey area where he's being fucked over on some level. He's the problem. He's the problem in the way Sancho was the problem, in the way that Lingard was the problem, and Pogba was the problem before that,
And Martial.
Like, people have been taking the club for a ride for a long time, and then Rashford, in my opinion, is not good enough to play for the club in his current form. And I don't like the way he's playing the fans off the club and the manager, and he's putting up social media posts kind of inferring that everything's grand and it's not him. He doesn't train. And here's the thing as well about him, which bugs me, which is the biggest problem I have with him this week, and I have a problem with him most weeks, is that Rooney said on the overlap that he's talked to him and given him a bit of advice, and he seems to be ignoring people that are giving him good advice. Like, if Wayne Rooney's telling you to, move on to pastures new, and Wayne Rooney's won everything, it just goes to show that Rashford has a much bigger ego than we give him credit for. And all of this stuff about giving money to charity and all the wonderful things that he does, and that makes him a great person. But in the context of what we're talking about, he's not doing the business. And what he's doing as well, because of that, there's a knock-on effect with the other strikers. I think that's playing into the lack of form of Rasmus Højlund. I think that's playing into the form of the other lads around the team as well. It's a distraction. It's an unwelcome distraction. And he has to go. And I'd love to see him go. But the problem is that no one would buy him, I don't think. No one can afford his wages, because he's right up there with Casemiro wages-wise. So where does he go? He wants to go to Barca, I understand, but they can't afford him. So that means we'd be subsidising his wages for the next 6 months. And then he'll come back, and then we start the same cycle of dysfunction and disruption within the squad again come the summer when we're going back to work. And he has to go for his own sake, because he's ruining his own career by hanging on, in my opinion.
He doesn't want it, though. That's the problem. He just doesn't want it. You take the likes of Ronaldo. We go back to the whole training situation. This guy doesn't want to train. Ronaldo didn't want to go home from training. That's the difference. He stays back for an hour after the training session at 40 years of age to train. This guy doesn't want to train. That's the difference. He doesn't want to play. You don't want to train, you don't want to play. So just go, because it's no good. And particularly now, you can compare it to, I suppose, not even 10 but 20 years ago, where athleticism is a big thing now. If you don't train, you haven't the hope of keeping up with these guys. The younger guys are becoming physically stronger. You can see it across all the clubs in the Premiership. Physically stronger, physically fitter, better ball players. And if you can't keep up with that, you're in trouble. And sometimes when I see Rashford and I see him in a match, it's like he's in pain. If you look at his face, he's in pain. And that's the guy that's not keeping up and hasn't been keeping up. It's gone from a case of not wanting to train to a guy I think who struggled all along. And look, if you're not at the elite stage for United, well then you shouldn't be there. So
How do you go from 30 goals a season to this?
It's inexplicable. I mean, there should never, like, I mean, all strikers can have a fall off. But to this level, it has to be his focus, his mentality, you know? It can't be anything else. I don't know how you go from scoring 30 goals to not being arsed. It doesn't make sense, whether it's people around him, whether I don't know. You can't actually answer it. I mean, the fall from grace for him has been massive. But
I think it's got to
it's
a point as
crazy.
well. I think it's got to a point as well, Dick, that there might be other stuff going on with his mental health, and that's fine. He's a human being like everyone else.
Yeah,
He might have some major troubles in his private life. That's fine, but it's the outward projection that everything is fine and he's ready when he's not. He's not training. Like, this is the thing as well. He's probably getting drip feeded information about stories about Tevez or Maradona or players or McGrath who didn't have to train and just turning up and doing the job.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And like, Tevez was famously a terrible trainer. It's mentioned several times in Andy Mitten's book, Bring on the Champions. He's mentioned by loads of players and stories in that book, about how Tevez was the worst trainer, but Fergie absolved him of that because he was so good when he played. He ran the bollocks off himself.
Mm.
So at what point did he think that he doesn't have to train like the rest of them? And the reality is that we have a coach now who won't accept anything less than 100% when you train and when you play. And he doesn't seem to want to do that. So for me, it's a basic kind of employment law stuff. If they're not doing the job that you're paying them to do, you get sacked.
yeah. And, like, I mean, the problem is the modern day footballer is mollycoddled and rewarded for maybe one good season and then gets, what, 350 grand a week? It's ludicrous. And it goes back to the mismanagement of our club the last few seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, there's very few players in the world that deserve to be on 350 grand a week. I mean, it's obscene. And then to not want to train, no way. I mean, someone like that shouldn't be at our club.
No.
And he's bleeding it dry. I mean, he's
This
not even sitting on the bench.
Yeah, this coming from a man who's speaking there, who runs marathons. He runs marathons for breakfast. You know, and that's the understanding of it. I think that's the problem with it as well, is the disconnect with fans, because fans are like, let's be honest, none of us are rolling in money. Look, all of us, the majority of us that support the club, and without getting into the ticket prices and strategies that they're doing to cut costs and all that stuff, which is another conversation. But I think we've less time for the players who don't do what's expected of them because of the disconnect with the amount of money we can, like, with everything that's going on in the world, with the wars and everything else, and such hardship, when we see such a huge amount of human suffering. Why are we supposed to accept that these people are not working hard when they get huge amounts of money to do stuff which we would do for free,
Mm.
if we were of the age,
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
You're probably still young enough to be centre forward for United, eh?
for me. I could have been. I blame a bad injury. Could have all happened. I had a chance, but no, didn't materialize. But no, look. The question is, the question I put out there. You ask a guy, do you want to play for Manchester United? If you say no, there's something wrong with it. That's
Yeah.
that's the bottom line of it is. The bottom line of it is, like, you had players there who played. There was a lot. How many players went through the club who yeah, grand. They were delighted. They were getting paid well, but never really bothered them. You know,
Yeah,
they played for the fact that they, that their legacy is they played for Man United and they did a great job at it. You don't. There's so much. It's just crazy that this guy doesn't want to train. He doesn't want to play. Simple as. He's not.
On the plus side, it looks like Garnacho is looking like he wants to at least play.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
hate, I'm hating the rumors of him being sold to Chelsea. They want to be off their nut to make a move like that.
yeah,
So I'm hoping that's false.
yeah. I think it is. I think all this is a strategy to get him moving. You know, not moving on. I think it's a strategy by Amram to push him to perform better. It's like you're not expendable. No one's expendable in this system. You know, I think that all of this is Amram using reverse psychology. There's a lot of it going on that we'll find out about in later years or whatever. Just as an aside, quickly, Mick created a Cult of Cantona jersey for us a while ago, and if anyone would like to order that, it's available, or we can make it available to you. And here's a little picture of it, actually. So as you can see, it's really well designed. It's really well made. It's a great shirt to have around on match days. It's really good quality. It has Cantona on the back, and you'll notice some detail about the seagulls and the trawlers on the bottom, and Cantona on the back. There's also some great merch that X Pro do for clubs. Also the MUFC Irish Reds page, they have their own shirt as well as Suki's Red Devils in the UK as well. Great work, great way to build community. Think of creating or get onto X Pro and make about creating your club jerseys as well, or your five-a-side team jerseys. Great service, great quality. And here's a closer look of the front of it. As you can see, it's a lot of fun, and Mick made all our fantasies about being professional footballers come to life.
No, it's class already. Yeah, it turned out really well, that shirt. It's actually amazing to see how far it has come in the space of time. To see anything related to Manchester United. Obviously, like yourselves, I've been a supporter since I've been in nappies, but there's it's great to see the X Pro logo coming. And again, the one thing I keep saying to Deck is it's just amazing all this has happened with the three groups that you've mentioned, and we're still barely over a year old. It's really good, and we're starting to knock on a lot of doors in different countries now as well in terms of the football gear in particular, where we've branched out to Canada and we have clubs in Canada and all now. So yeah, it's been a success story.
It's brilliant, and with that as well, it creates a wonderful sense of community amongst the fans, and it shows that the United fan base are, especially in Ireland, are incredibly kind and to each other and supportive of other people's endeavours.
No, absolutely, yeah.
A cash grab, especially with us. What we're trying to do is just bring people together under the umbrella of what we do, to help people out, to get people talking, and to get people hanging out and interacting, and it's not, and we need it because the football is so bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's nice to see it all come together, and particularly when the guys go to the matches, to see 6 or 7 of them wearing it as well. It's great, And I know branch that out to the guys in Kildare as well. They've been fantastic supporters of X Pro too. So, it's branching out amongst all the groups, and that's the great thing about us, about the United fans, is the community spirit in these groups. I've getting to meet an awful lot of people in the last 12 months due to them. So it's all good in times when we need it most. Yeah, like you say, it's great.
And unfortunately, two of the Kildare lads, Kildare MUSC, were meant to have been on now this evening, but work commitments kept them busy. So, look, we're going to try going forward. We're actually going to try get different people on from Kildare MUSC, Cult of Cantona, MUFC Irish Reds. We want the broader community to get involved with us, get involved in the comments. Look,
Yeah,
come on,
I think
PM
it's
any of
also
us.
it's sorry.
No
I think
worries.
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to give kind of a shout out to some of the other groups. There's some great Man United Facebook groups that you can join and get involved in the banter. There's also events and meetups and supporters clubs. There's the Irish official Manchester United supporters club that Lou Burney runs. They do great work, and they're the oldest supporters club in the country from the 60s or early 70s. You've obviously Kildare, they do great trips over. Um, then you have the Man United supporters era group, and then the Manchester United supporters Ireland groups. They've been very helpful in terms of what we're trying to do overall, and some of the other great supporters clubs as well. The Clonmel Man United supporters group, and they're all over the place. There's one in Sligo. There's branches, supporters groups everywhere, and they usually have Facebook group pages. Get involved, go to meetups, go to matches, get involved. And there's also a group called We All Hate Manchester United, which is fun if you want to join that one as well. But it's all community and it's good banter. And you know, come to the events, go to matches, hang out with these people, get to know them. It's a great community that is really about bringing people together and making new friends and pals. I mean, it's been great for us over the last while getting to know each other, all of us in the cult of Cantona, and it's a real joy to participate.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this draw. I just want to mention as well that the money we raised for Crumlin is €500. That's going to be transferred to Crumlin. So, lovely amount from a lot of people. Now, I have 46 numbers in this draw. People that bought multiple hats will get multiple entries. So, very efficient doing it on my phone. Yeah, and now I have to go in and check my list. And I'll have your winner for you in a minute. Would you believe number 7, Eric Murphy of Kildare MUFC, is the winner of the draw. Eric will be in contact with you for that voucher, and you can buy lots of lovely products on there. So enjoy. Eric Murphy's your winner.
Well done, Eric.
Lucky boy, €200. So come here, we're back on Sunday, isn't it? Against Palace.
Yeah, Palace, yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a good performance from the team again, and it'll be 4 in a row. Games. So looking forward to it.
Tough game. They're always a challenge for us, and I suppose the teams are getting stronger. But yeah, it'd be good to see the progression. It'll be a real test for progression in that game, I think. Because
100%.
They're not going to just leave us in the door. And I think the FA Cup is after that, then, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah. So exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
It's just great being a Red.
Sorry. I was just saying about Palace. I think that they've kind of turned us over, and there's been a couple of surprise results. But so we're due a win against them, and they sold some of their better players. Elise gone to Bayern Munich as well, so I think we're due a win against them. And I just hope we go on a run now for the end of the season, win the Europa League, and jump into that Champions League, and then enjoy the Championship as well, which will be in next season.
No fear of that. I don't think we definitely won't be going down there, but we got to Europa League final.
I think we
road trip to Spain.
I think we have the right man, to be honest. I think he's been very honest about it. He knew how bad the situation was. He obviously seen how worse it was when he got there, but he's been pretty brutally honest about it, and he has predicted some of the falls that we had, but he has also said that's achievable. So I think he's doing exactly what he has been saying. I think it will take him a couple of transfer windows, I think, but I think he's definitely the man for the job because he's brutally honest about it anyway. That's the key. Whereas Ten Hag was covering up a lot of that crap that was going on. But that was no good to us as supporters. But hopefully we're after finding the right man this time.
Do you think he's gonna? Do you think he's gonna radicalise the club and get us back to where we were?
Yeah, well, how much of an impact he can have against the directors is one thing, but I think the main thing is that he's not coming out sugarcoating anything. You know, he's telling us straight out. The Bradford thing is a perfect example, and that's good because nobody else would have done that.
Is he too honest?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can't be too honest with the situation. With the biggest club in the world are a mid-table team and struggling. You have to be honest about it.
I just think he's his own man. He's not going to take shit from anyone.
Mm.
If it's either his way or goodbye, you
Mm.
know, and that's what a lot of these players need. And do I think he's the right man for the job? Yeah. Is it going to take a while? Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I'm. You know, I wouldn't. It's a shaky start, but he said it. He did say it,
Mm.
and he was like. Let's be honest as well. Unlike some of the teams that Mourinho has walked into or Pep Guardiola, we we are probably the worst iteration of ourselves for a variety of reasons. Not just because of the team that we have, but because of the business that we've done over the last 20 years. So it's certainly in the Premiership era, but things I would say can only get better. And it's the optimism of the fans that carry us through this. And if we get a good transfer window, particularly next transfer window, I think we'll see the shape of a team. And it's all. I think we're already starting to see, you know, some of the ideas that he's trying to put across being reflected in the results and the battle again. The battle is back. You know.
That is absolutely, yeah.
Um, so you happy enough with that, lads? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. We're going to try do a weekly thing. So
Yeah, guys. So if you could, and you're watching live, or this is on the groups, and we'll share it on the groups afterwards, try to subscribe to the channel. And we don't get paid for any of this, obviously. So, and we do need small budgets for little bits of equipment or software like this, and to keep the lights on and keep it moving. So, if you want to support the show or the community and what we're doing, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/cult of Cantona. There's a QR code there. I got my finger in the. Hang on, wrong way.
Yeah.
On there. Hold on. Whoop. And if you scan that, you can buy us a coffee or you can become a member. And there's lots of options of little things that we'll do in return. And when you see us out and about, although none of you, I'd say, being Kerry, and if you are, Deck will probably be throwing you into the back of the car, I'd say, after a few points. By all means, reach out to us, say hello to us if you see us, because we won't recognise you. And if you see us at matches or around the place, and we'll get you a pint back or a cup of coffee or whatever. But for today, Mick, thanks so much for joining us. A big fan of the work that you're doing with X-Pro.
Thanks a million.
It's not always, and I love that it's not all about money with you, which is a wonderful thing. And Deck, thanks a million.
no worries, Paul. Cheers. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
All the best.
Take care. Bye.